Can we talk about the DNA testing center? I had two guys call in. They work at DNA testing centers. One guy had to quit. One guy still works there. He told me 40% of the children are not the man's child.
40%.
40%. He said 40%.
Somebody call Maury.
It's usually
make DNA testing
it's
mandatory.
It's two scenarios. It's where the woman, the person's getting a DNA test because the woman claims that is their child. Turns out it's not. The other one is where the parent is on a deathbed and makes a confession, or they need a liver transplant, blood transfusion, and the blood type. There's no way that can actually be the father. So then they find out that because of medical reasons. You mean that's not my father? Then the father finds out from that way. He said it took such a toll on him that he could no longer do it because he would be sitting on the phone counseling the men and the grown children who these women falsely accuse.
We need to bring back waiting till marriage and teach about the consequences of sleeping with multiple people. The past 60 to 70 years have proven that it isn't healthy and that it is dangerous. But teaching only goes so far. There needs to be legal consequences in place as well, and this is one of the starting points that needs to be done. One common problem with the existing system is that an unmarried mom seeking public assistance is required by law to identify the father when applying for benefits. In many instances, the true father and the mom are living together without the benefit of marriage, and they know from the word being out on the streets that honestly identifying the actual father will require him to pay child support, which gets funneled to the state rather than the mom to reimburse the state for the benefits it has already provided to the poor and single mom. The parents conspire to preserve their income, and the mom names a different man on the application form. That is the guy who has to defend himself in the paternity lawsuit brought by the local prosecutor on behalf of the state. If the poor bloke can afford a lawyer and actually mount a defense in court, paternity tests will get him off the hook. But I wonder how many guys can't afford a defense and end up being wrongly named in a judgment of paternity when they fail to appear and defend and get defaulted.
We're saying that it's better for there to be a 50-50 custody, right? Maybe the female, just looking at the other sides, backed against the wall and going, gosh, if I don't keep my children more, which I'm used to doing because I've been a stay-at-home mom and I don't have any career basis, I go out there and I work, I'm not going to be able to afford this apartment or whatever for my children if I don't make the split difference so that he can pay me more so that I can have the amount of income to survive.
Child support has nothing to do with your ability to earn. Child support
No, I
has to
didn't
do
say it
with...
had anything to do with ability to earn. I'm saying that the
No, you
female
did.
didn't have ability to earn, possibly. She's making an error judgment, but with a financial need to go after her ex for more custody, possibly because she thinks, and she's right, she doesn't have the capacity to go make the living on her own.
So
Does that
basically
make
what you're
sense?
saying is that there's a mother who doesn't have the ability to make a decision on the best interest of her children
No.
because she's putting money...
No.
That's exactly what you're saying.
No, you're twisting my word.
Let's be real. The government may never make paternity fraud a crime. The government would do everything that prevent women from spending time in jail. However, the government can make laws to make paternity tests mandatory, and only the biological fathers to pay child support, not the stepfather or boyfriend or babysitter or some random stranger. If DNA can absolve or convict a murderer, then it should be the last word on if a man pays for a child or not. If he isn't the biological father, then he's off the hook. It is then the responsibility of the mother to go after the biological father for support. Why are we continuing to reward women for bad behavior? You wouldn't pay for petrol in someone else's car, and you wouldn't pay for someone else's kid if someone made up a fake license plate to defraud a gas station of gasoline. It would be a crime. So if a woman tells you it's your baby to defraud you out of money, there's no difference. I agree paternity tests should be mandatory at hospital, and man should have option of no-fault divorce and not have to pay alimony.
Here are the results of the paternity test.
Well, what the fuck? Come on, dog. Come on, dog.
What?
Come on, bro.
What you doing all that for?
Read this paper. What the fuck this say?
What you mean? What?
Read what that say right there.
They need to do this over.
Nigga. I'm not the father. I'm not the father. I ain't paying no more child support.
They need to do this over.
I ain't paying no more child support, dog. I swear to God, I already knew it, bro. Is everything okay?
Paternity fraud is a pure evil crime that only women do. Men, We have the power. No ring, no proposal, no cohabitation, no wedding, no kids. The family court system is corrupt. Do you want to lose half of everything or more? Think about it, long and hard. Marriage is not worth the mental, emotional, and financial risk. Spread the message. Tell every man you know. Stay safe. It's very simple, and every single dude should do this. If she wants a kid with you, then before you even do it, you make absolutely clear that as soon as the kid arrives, then a DNA test will be performed. No questions asked. It doesn't matter if she agrees or not. As long as that agreement isn't written down, looked at by a lawyer, etc., then there won't be any kids, period. If none of this is possible, then keep it in your pants and tell her to search for a simp. Sadly, we have to live and do stuff like this, but this is for the protection of any man out there. We have a saying over here where I live. Trust is good, but control is better. Meaning, don't blindly trust her. Instead, control the situation in your favor. So here's the key lesson to learn from this story. I'm sharing this so that you don't ever come into a situation such as this. First, don't rush marriage. Marriage is a huge responsibility. Make sure you're completely ready for it. Make sure your to-be wife is completely ready for it. Because marriage is not easy. It's not like when you're just dating someone. It throws tough battles towards you that you have to fight daily. It shows you sides of your partner that you will have never seen before. It shows you sides of yourself that you hadn't known even existed. And if you do get married, make sure that you set up your expectations right at the beginning. Make sure you don't marry someone who doesn't know how to handle stress and someone who will constantly seek attention from other men. She should know that marriage is a lifelong affair where there will be good days and bad days. Marriage is a tough life choice and shouldn't be taken lightly. More than often, marriage destroys relationships that exist between couples for years. It has ruined the lives of many men, and that is why so many men are going their own way now. Mandatory paternity testing at birth would solve the whole issue. It would allow the real parents to be named and recognized at the birth of a child, and it would enable parents to know if their partner is the real parent and save them from any confusion later on. Women need to stop sleeping around and then act all shocked when the guy wants to take a DNA test to make sure the kid is his. Tennessee making DNA tests mandatory, Texas getting rid of no-fault divorce, and Florida getting rid of permanent alimony. Women are slowly losing. Women have been lying to men for decades about paternity fraud. From a fellow Tennessean, I hope this bill passes. When 30% of children are being raised by men who are not their fathers, and the guy doesn't know it's just wrong, it has to stop. And women will now be accountable for their actions. The reality is that a faithful woman doesn't have a problem taking tests to ensure her partner of her quality. Those who start avoiding it are hiding infidelity. Even if she didn't cheat, it causes concerns about her morality and cooperation with you. You don't need to care what she thinks about it, just insist on it. If she refuses, she cheated or is incompatible with morality and cooperation in a relationship. You don't have to spend your life with someone who is stubborn just for the sake of being stubborn. Also, kids deserve to know who is their biological father. This is important medical knowledge for knowing inherited diseases and compatibility for donations. It's a no-brainer. It's well past time for reform in family court and how it treats fathers. This is the 21st century. These reforms should be made exactly the same in all 50 states and U.S. territories. If any woman is found to have lied about who the biological father is of their child, or DNA testing confirms that said child has not been fathered by the man living with this woman, she should be held accountable both criminally and civilly. The child should be placed in protective custody by Child Protective Services. These reforms should also allow for the impeachment of any judge, commissioner, or magistrate who attempts to assign legal responsibility to the man who has been proven to not be the father. For women to want true equality, they must agree to 3 things. 1. Mandatory registration for the draft. 2. For every air-conditioned white-collar job attained, women must equally represent a blue-collar position as well. And 3. Paternity tests at birth. This will solve many people's problems and make it easier for the justice system to see the reality for what it is. This is why more men are online teaching other men about the pitfalls of dating women with children, because they are high risk. And it must be having an effect, because the number of women with kids now online protesting that men don't want to date them has skyrocketed. Where a DIY paternity test is banned, or requires the woman to also agree to have it done, such as in Germany, I think, the man should just go ahead and do it anyhow, without the knowledge of the woman, because that is basically what has happened to him. From that point, he will then know for sure and be able to put steps in place to quietly leave and protect his assets. 40% of the children are not the children of the men in a relationship. That's what DNA testing officials from labs report. And that information is only provided by the mothers at their deathbeds. As a society, we keep telling men it's noble to step up and raise another man's child. Look, family medical history matters. Knowing who formed a child matters. It's insane that we treat a woman's emotions as a more valid argument than reality. Paternity tests should be mandatory. Paternity fraud should be criminal. And this should be strong grounds for a divorce in the husband's favor. So basically, all the actions, irresponsibility, and wrongdoings by the woman have to be paid by the man. Society is so stupid today as to wonder why men don't ask women out anymore, or men just don't want kids anymore. Probably the only time a woman will step up and protest this behavior may actually be when it is her son going through this life-altering moment. Thanks for watching Man Reacts. Show us your love and support by liking this video, sharing it with your friends, and subscribing to the channel. Support us and help us spread support for men around the world. Do comment and share your thoughts. We're always up for a healthy debate and discussion.